Hello and welcome back to another video. This is just my Saturday evaluation video. So the trading week's gone, and again, what you know, the market's been a bit rubbish. We've had this movement, but I've got a lot to talk about this week for myself. Anyway, I had essentially one of the best setups that I have in my system, and I fucked it up. So yeah, a lot to talk about. Okay, before we get in, I just want to make it clear that these videos are not financial advice. It's only entertainment purposes, essentially. Essentially, these videos are for me. It's not for anyone else, they're for me. They're for me to sort of recoup my thoughts and understand what my plan is, and to summarize my thoughts, essentially, in a better manner than just writing it down. And it's generally easier to just speak about it. So yeah, it's not financial advice. I'm not a profitable trader. I'm trying to be profitable. Definitely not a profitable trader after the week I had. And yeah, okay, so let's get into it. So, how many trades did I take this week? I just took the one, and I wanted to take more. I wanted to take a big trade, but that didn't happen. So great. Anyway, let's talk about that. So what was the trade? So if my other videos, if one had watched them, then we'd know that for me at the moment, we're in an area of weekly support, basically. So weekly support, and again, it was generally bearish after what's happened up here with, you know, the good news, and now we're failing. Why are we failing here? And why was alts bringing Bitcoin up? Why is the BlackRock news not propelling price further up? Again, it just looks like a complacency shoulder for the big move. So what's going on there with that? Anyway, we're at weekly support, but then on the daily front, price had broken down. I was essentially making the argument that, okay, you know, if I'm generally leaning bearish after what's happened up here, I think, you know, the context and sentiment was more important, but, you know, I'm giving it its chance to be bullish. And sorry for sniffing there, but if we go down onto lower time frame, let's replay tool. Let's go here. If we go down onto the lower time frame, you know, we've had a daily breakdown. Now we're forming our own little range here, and, you know, broke down range and sort of breaking down again, but not breaking down too much. We're essentially wicking this wick here. And what's going on here? I was trying to anticipate that this was a failed breakdown, and I had reason to believe that it's because of what I've just mentioned, is that here's really the last sort of point of defense before we'll see continuation further down in a quite dramatic fashion, in my opinion. And yeah, so here, if anywhere, is where you wanted to see bulls step in. And I think this was the area of last defense, because yes, you know, you got some sort of support here. I just put this on recently just for like trading. You know, this is a level that I'm more so, you know, perhaps it might do something to price, so it'll be useful for trading. But from this point here to this point, I think it's all hotter, you know, and the price can go pretty quickly. But anyway, yeah. So last point of defense, we want to see someone come in here. So I was anticipating a failed breakdown. If we go into the hourly as well, you know, we've got a clear range low here, and we've got a clear impulsive movement. So what I did essentially against my system, well, let's talk about it, is that in my system that I can, and for myself, I can analyze and identify where these sort of potentially failed breakdowns can come in. I can read the market well, like for example this one, and we'll go through a few more later. But as well, I was also anticipating here, yeah, last point in defense, yeah, all the other reasons, but we've also got, you know, all these highs here, and we got these highs. So for me, these were essentially magnets for price. You know, I don't expect, you know, these highs to not be wicked above before it goes down. Okay, so what I did is on this candle, I think it was, I took a long, I just put it tight with a stop loss there, and this was only 1% risk, saying, okay, you know what, let's just try anticipate, let's be aggressive, let's see if we can get in. And we go forward one, you know, got took out. Great. Okay, I'm wicking again, and so it was only 1% loss. Not a very good execution. Is that I'm knowing that okay, price should probably reverse here, but there's nothing sort of confirming it here. So yeah, I took a 1% loss on that, and I was just okay. You know what? I'll just wait until we reclaim, and then we can move up further, and then maybe I can enter something. You know, and it's still all right. Risk to reward here. If we do something like okay, whatever, retest onto that, do that. 1.28 if I put 5% risk on or whatever it is, that's a decent win. And then from the sort of ideas that okay, probably these will be taken as well, pretty good. Okay, great. Okay, so let's wait for that. That's what I was doing. And then we had something like hold on 1 sec, let's get back to here. Then we had something like this and a very large wick. Now in the moment I remember seeing this and I was like, okay, that's the bottom. That's quite clearly the bottom. Why? Because again, it's almost like the exhaustion of price. You can put the RSI on. It's a bullish divergence. You see, okay, we've wicked once again, and now we're wicking another time. But again, buyers are still stepping in here. It's seller exhaustion. I think I don't know. It's really weird to be honest. With just time, you can almost just feel it. It is. At the end of the day, all this is a ball tingle from experience. But yeah, I just felt buyers come in at this point, and I'm like, oh shit. Okay, what can I do now? Well, because I just had that loss, I don't want to enter now aggressive because I just had that loss. Whatever happens again, that's a horrible mindset to have. You just gotta, follow your plan. So I was like, but now I can't really wait until this reclaims because if I do that, well, that risk to reward is pretty terrible. So again, it was just complete failure from me. If we go forward some more, came back down here, and then impulse broke above. I was like, okay, right, well, that's just happened, great. So let's, I set limit bids on this level here. Let's target something there. Oh, in fact, I think I set it up the stop loss below something. I don't know. Anyway, it was around here. It was pretty poor from me at the time. And yeah, price just went, and yeah, it's done exactly what I was thinking, but I couldn't execute on it because I was just poor. Coming up here, if I saw something like this happen in the live trade, especially after essentially the conservative target, and this is quite a trouble area, this D1 level, it's quite clear on the sort of daily time frame that it's a trouble area. But if I started seeing, especially losing this, then I'd be like, okay, maybe it's best to get out of this trade. And support, breakthrough again, probably exit on something like this. So, I've missed all these gains, but still in profit. Anyway. Yeah, I just failed to go away to execute on it. And at the end of the day, anyone can just like come on here and analyze and say, whatever, this is meant to do this should do that, whatever, it's support, resistance. But the real edge in trading is execution and management. They're really the key goals. And you can only learn that from experience, from actually doing it. Okay, so what have I learned from this is that I should only be entering these. So there's essentially like two genres here that we can do. There's trying to be aggressive and anticipating the deviation, or waiting for a breakthrough and entering sometime here. So, confirmation, aggressive, yeah? Only enter aggressively if it's quite an obvious bottom. Now, for me, this was quite an obvious bottom, seeing this. And, I perhaps should have entered, even if I entered on the close of that candle, wick there, stop loss there, and targeting these highs first, and then here. And you can do that with conviction, so you can enter a lot of risk for me anyway, because I really like these types of setups. I can feel them well, and I'll go through some more examples in a second. So that would be like a really lucrative opportunity for me. And then if we have sort of an impulsive breakthrough, then I think for me, usually I'd say that I'd want to wait to come back down there and then do something like that. And yeah, it is possible to do something like that, but I think one can just enter on, market as it breaks through, and then use the impulsive candle. It shouldn't be fully retraced. You can use the impulsive candle as your stop loss, perhaps something like that. Yeah, that's what I'll try to do in the future. It's just the execution on it, and I've spoken a lot more about it in my journal and evaluation, so I'll go through that. But yeah, it's this candle where it happens, and trying to get in too early. And another mistake that I did is what I did here, saying, okay, this level shouldn't be retest. Well, you don't know that at that point. I'm just trying to sort of get a higher risk to reward, which is really quite poor. I think the only stop loss placement you should do is not to say that this level shouldn't be retested again if there hasn't been a solid reaction from it, but to say that, okay, this move shouldn't be retraced again, or this wick should be the bottom, this wick should hold, because essentially it's the same thing. We have a wick like this, it came down, all that wick is that on the lower time frame, you're going 5 minutes, then it's quick move and then aggressive move up. Again, that move should not be retraced if bullish. Yeah, not to enter something like, okay, we've now came from this level, this level should not be retested now. You need to have an impulsive actual direction, if that makes sense. It makes sense for me, and that's what I'll do going forward. Anyway, let's go through some examples. So what do we have here? This is another sort of example of a failed breakout this time. Why did I enter this trade when I did it? Because we broke back in, and it was quite a slow movement. Just went up and it just fizzled back down into it, and that's much easier to enter, I think, than an aggressive thing like this. And yeah, that was a very successful trade for me. Another key thing I was trying to improve upon when I was taking this trade was I was like, I need to enter a lot of risk on my trades that I have conviction in. So let's bump up the risk a lot. And I was doing it too fast, too much, too quick, So for example, I didn't enter enough on this trade, and yeah, I won the trade, but then I took another one. I think here I took another short here, which was really stupid. And I entered too much risk on that one, and then lost it, and it's ridiculous. Okay, let's look for another failed breakdown example. Is we have this one here. We got a few lows here, especially after a very bullish move, so you expect pretty hasty continuation. Came down, broke, and now we're coming back up, and it's quite. There's not really any. It's going 15 minutes. It's not really much impulsive movement here. We just sort of fizzled back in, and you can't really say on this that, okay, now I broke back in, this level shouldn't be retested. It can always be retested here, and this was, I took this trade, and for some reason, stupid at the time, I moved my stop loss to break even, and saying after like, I think it was this point, I was like, okay, we're now away, this level shouldn't be retested, and then it went to like my full target, ridiculous, but you learn. Okay, and let's find something else. A really nice one is this one here. So we didn't even, so if we have, I think it was on H4, yeah, so we had level like this, we didn't even wick it, but we came down, had some essentially what looks like exhaustion here, making a new low, wicking the wick, and then we just came back in, and then we had quite a slight impulsive movement here. Came down, form a typical like sort of range continuation, and then moved up to the full target. And again, on this trade, we had clear targets here. The key thing with all my trades that I try to do is that there must be some clear targets to hit. And another one that's quite a typical one that marked the very bottom. is something like this, 4-hour level, clear range, incredibly respected, and wick this, impulse out, impulse again, form some lows, take down lows, retest, and move upwards, and you got, clear highs here. Yeah. Okay, so I guess just, Saturday evaluation is just, key message of this one is that you've got to have your execution and management on lockdown, because it can fuck you up in a lot of scenarios. For example, management fucked me up there. Execution fucked me up here. That's more important than any tool is in trading. Anchored VWAP. Wow, sounds fancy. Wow, it's such good, support. It's such a good level. It's such a good dynamic level. Okay, so if I use that, I'm going to become a profitable trader immediately. Not really, because it's all about execution and management and how you react to that, and you can only learn that from experience and all these, SMC, smart money concepts, sort of teaching you actually how the market works. Well, again, it's useless. You need to just practice with something really simple, like just these levels. And these levels, I think, they do work. The reason why I guess most people don't make money, including myself, on them is because they don't know how to execute or manage. And that's it. Plans going forward, I don't have any, to be honest. I'll need to plan on that tomorrow. Yeah, market's looking pretty rough. Yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching.